What's Trudeau done now? India and Canada falling out, no visas, standing up in Parliament and saying, oh, India killing people in Canada, stop it.
Over the past number of weeks, Canadian security agencies have been actively pursuing credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
He wants India to investigate this after he's called them out already. So let's have a listen, 6:40 a.m. Let's see what they got to say.
I think it could have and should have been done differently. That's my opinion. Because as you've alluded to, we're sort of in uncharted waters to see the head of state wade into an open murder investigation and point the finger in a very vague way at another country. We have suspects at large, presumably, probably no longer in our country, by the way, would be my opinion. And if the RCMP and Canada writ large want cooperation from India, accusing them in such an open and aggressive way is not something that's going to lend itself to cooperation. The Prime Minister, let's not forget, just 10 days ago, met directly with Modi, the President of India, and told him outright, look, we have these intelligence reports that say that your government may be implicated in this. What do you have to say? And apparently Modi said that's absurd. And, that statement was echoed more recently by a spokesperson for the Indian government. And they used very, I thought, curious language when they said it's absurd and it's motivated. Motivated by Canada. And what does that mean? Politically motivated? Motivated to do what?
We want to make it clear that we understand as a community that the assassination was committed by Indian agencies.
I actually heard that the Globe and Mail might have been about to print something about this, but I can't be sure about that. Maybe it was a distraction. Maybe it's a distraction from the parents thing and the everything that's going wrong for Trudeau.
It's bizarre, frankly, to be saying it's serious, I can't tell you what it is, but it's serious. I would have expected, frankly, to come back to your question, that this would have been the head of the RCMP holding a press conference if in fact it was necessary to make it public in such a grandiose way.
We call upon the government of India to take seriously this matter and to work with us to shed full transparency and ensure accountability and justice in this matter. We are a country of the rule of law. We are going to continue to do the work necessary to keep Canadians safe and to uphold our values and the international rules-based order. That's our focus right now.
So could there be a link here to foreign interference?
As of today, and as a consequence, we've expelled a top Indian diplomat from Canada.
This will all be a tremendous amount of interesting examination that is going to happen by a judge into the broader subject of foreign interference in our country. But I do come back to this growing concern about interference by other countries that certainly our allies share. And on the subject of intelligence, we're members of the Five Eyes. So some of this intelligence may have also come from other countries. That remains to be seen. But it is worth noting that the UK, the United States, Australia, our closest allies, while expressing concern, have not drafted in foursquare behind Canada in basically saying India did this. India is responsible for this. They chose much more diplomatic language. When we're talking about a government, another foreign government implicated in a murder on Canadian soil, yes, it's serious, but you better be able to back that up. And, as we saw in the Khashoggi case involving Saudi Arabia, where a Turkish journalist was slaughtered, that was never resolved.
Right.
And the likelihood that we're going to catch the perpetrators of this, I think, has been diminished by the politicization of an investigation.
So So what do you think the damage is from this? Do you think Trudeau could take it back? Do you think he can settle something with India? Do you think he can make things right again? He always tries with his, hey, we need to have conversations rules. So do you think conversations will solve this?
Well, look, I think the diplomatic fallout and damage from this is unprecedented, and this isn't to say that, you compromise yourself for trade and for economic reasons, but I think as far as any future pivot away from China in the hopes that we're going to pick up more business in India, that file is going to be in the deep freeze now for a very long time.
Yeah, but what if we change the government? What if we get rid of Trudeau and we bring Pierre Poilievre in?
Well, that is one possible change in the situation for sure. When you bring new people into the equation, relationships, of course, can be reset. Yeah. And India is a democratic country. It's a G20 partner. They're a country that is on the rise. We have significant Indian population, Indo-Canadian population, as you mentioned. Mm-hmm. So relationships absolutely can be repaired, but I think it's going to be very difficult, next to impossible, for the current Prime Minister and government to turn this around at this point. And there is a cost for doing this. We may see further fallout still. I think this is still a fresh wound.
There is no question that India is a country of growing importance and a country that we need to continue to work with, not just in the region, but around the world. And we're not looking to provoke or cause problems. That's why we call upon the government of India to work with us.
Yeah, I don't see this accusation going away very soon.
We need to have the evidence that that allowed the Prime Minister to come to the conclusions he made yesterday. He knew about vast foreign interference by Beijing for many years, at the same time as Beijing had kept 2 Canadian citizens hostage, and he said nothing and he did nothing. Just very, very interesting that was the approach he took in that case.
No rock is unturned, that every possible link will be examined, that the public inquiry should also turn its eye to this with the full rigor of that public inquiry. We need to know the truth. We need to know all potential links, and anyone and everyone responsible should be brought to justice using the full power of a democratic nation.
The relationship between Canada and India is absolutely flatlined. So one thing's for sure, this is going to be an interesting story to follow. So let's see what happens over the next few days and the next week or so. Let's see what happens here. This is going to be a bit of a doozy on top of everything else that's going on in Canada. It's never a slow day in Canada politics. Never a slow day. Just when you think you've seen everything, Trudeau goes and pops up and does something completely bizarre. Till next time.